Open your mind to new movies. Watch a film you may not normally pick. You just never know. Or wait for us to tell you which one to pick.
Same podcast, same guys, new look. Thanks for listening to Tales from the Video Store podcast, sponsored by Golden Ticket Cinemas, The Spot Toys in Newton, Table Rock Creative Group, the pinnacle of video marketing, and Ink Brush Swag, just a cool t-shirt company. Make sure you subscribe to our show on Apple, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. Tales from the Video Store, the podcast about the movies you've never heard of, but must see. Now, it's Lee Bridges, Doug Wall, and Garrick Lane. On with the show! Sure. Welcome to Tales from the Video Store, number 105. We're getting into first-time directors. Of course, every one of our first-time directors have been around the block a few times.
Yeah.
This week, Coen Brothers. All right, how we doing, guys?
Doing very well. How about you?
I'm good, man. So you went camping, but you used a cabin instead of a tent.
I did. Same reason I use a car instead of a horse.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right, well, let's get into it. Hey, I've got news. Bruce Campbell, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, Bruce Campbell took the first picture of Evil Dead Rises.
I did see that.
It has started filming. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I am too, because it's going to take place in a city, not in the cabin. Really, really the only thing that's the same is the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's a really interesting way to do it, as opposed to keep, they had the remake was 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the show. Is it gonna? They did the show. I wonder if it's gonna patch into that.
I really have no idea, because they talked about doing a sequel to the remake, and
I think it just goes down in a city.
Yeah.
Instead of a cabin, it's in a metropolitan setting.
But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. It's Sam Raimi and everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be anybody else. I don't think.
No, that's the reason he never, because after Freddy vs. Jason came out, there was actually a script, a Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash script. That was going to be the sequel. And the reason he didn't is Sam would basically have to give away control of the character. And he's like, that's just never going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he kept it, because I'm excited, man. I want to see this movie.
Oh, me too.
I mean, I'm already excited. It's gonna be great. Gonna be great. Well, and then last week we were talking about the Lord of the Rings, and this week, guess what? Amazon bought MGM.
Yeah.
It must be nice, man. Let me just go out and I'm just gonna buy MGM. So, what do you think is gonna happen with the Bond franchise?
They say as of now nothing. That it's still going to be in the theaters. Not going to be any drastic changes. But that's probably a big chunk of why Amazon bought them. I'm sure. That's MGM's big franchise.
Oh yeah. Well, it would be cool to keep tradition on that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
150%. And I was wrong about the Lord of the Rings. So New Line, which is
Warner
Brothers owns the Lord of the Rings, and MGM owns the Hobbit.
Right.
So,
because of the, I think that probably has to do with the animated movie from the 70s.
Right. So I wonder how that's going to fare with the Lord of the Rings or the Middle Earth
TV show. And now, is it a prequel show or?
I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But it was gonna. What did you say? It's gonna be like 500 $1 million.
It's all the billions.
Yeah.
It's like as many zeros as you can fit on a fucking piece of paper is I think how many.
It's gonna cost half of what Jeffrey's wife is gonna take from him during this divorce. Yeah. He's gonna end up with nothing.
Yeah, but he's going to space next week, so I mean, I don't think he cares.
Yeah, amen to that. Is he? Well, okay, this is a total blonde moment, but is he really going to space?
He says he is. He says he's, he has this company, that makes rockets. He says he's going to space because he stepped down as CEO.
Oh, that's right. So he's not getting in with Elon Musk and just...
No, this is his own thing. This is another rich asshole wants to go to space, separate company.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I saw on some Boston channel, Meek Mill and Jay-Z and a couple other guys pitched in and got Robert Kraft a blue Bentley that's very rare, and I'm just sitting there going, is that rich man problems? But Robert Kraft walks out on his porch and goes, I couldn't get this thing. They wouldn't give it to me. I'm sitting there going, what? that's an issue? A blue Bentley? Yeah, jeez. Yeah, rich man problems. I'm going to space next week. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some guys, when they go through a midlife crisis, they buy a Harley. Jeff Bezos is going to space.
I guess so. Yep. Get out of a bad marriage. Give half of your money away. Oh, it's pretty. That guy's pretty impressive, though. He started in a garage. I'll give it to him, man.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, he
all
worked.
the people he had people laughing in his face when he said he was going to sell books over the internet. They were like, "But there's bookstores everywhere. Why would you do that?" And so good on him.
Yep. I'll give it to him. All right. Well, and was it you shared that Elijah Wood's going to play the Toxic Avenger? This thing's actually going to happen again?
He's going to play the villain.
No, he's the villain.
Oh, I didn't read it. So he's going to play the villain.
Peter Dinklage is playing the Avenger. And Elijah Wood is the main villain.
Oh my gosh.
That's true.
This is true for Trauma. Trauma's paying the money for this.
I think
the Legendary Pictures is paying money.
Yeah, they're putting Trauma's name in some stuff, but it's not.
Sure, they paid Lloyd quite a bit of money too.
Yeah,
I'm sure they did.
Yeah,
I didn't get around to reading it, but I did see the picture. And I was like, whoa. Is that a movie you will go see?
Probably not.
In the theater?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I will rent it at Redbox.
Yes. They'll get my money eventually. I'm just not.
Just not in the theater.
It's not a
theater
money.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That just shows you that there's no property that's too obscure. If it's considered an established intellectual property, it is valuable to someone.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. I saw a cool story I thought was pretty funny that I wanted to share. You guys know who Mark Strong is, the English actor.
Oh, yeah.
He was,
Yes.
Lord Blackwater, from the Sherlock Holmes, the first Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. Well, anyway, he was doing an interview or somebody was asking him something about something, and he said that he had tried out for a James Bond movie as a villain, and it was when Pierce Brosnan was still James Bond. He didn't say which movie it was. But the night before, and I didn't realize this until I read this, but Mark Strong and Daniel Craig are like best friends. Like they've lived together. Well, the night before, Daniel Craig calls him and he's like, "Hey man, let's go out for a pint, whatever." And he's like, "Man, we got fucking pissed. I mean, just knee walking fucking drunk." And he said, "Next day I came in and just bombed my fucking
audition."
His audition. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny, and then it was like one or two movies. It may have been like that last movie, maybe the one before, but like 2 movies later, his boy plays James Bond, and he's like, and I could never get in, tried. I just thought it was kind of a cool story.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I would do. This guy get bombed before the most important audition ever. And
yeah, because at that point, I'm sure he'd been in some stuff, but he wasn't a guy that, you would really recognize. And neither was Daniel Craig really back at that point.
They were young.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty neat looking back. I like Mark Strong. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's the man.
Yeah. I like him in the King, like his Kingsman character. Pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got any more news?
News? No.
Hold on 1 second. Sit tight. I'm almost there. I'm gonna go ahead and export this out.
Now I got one more thing.
Okay.
I'll wait till Garrick comes back.
Oh, I gotta add a slate anyway. Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. It's interesting. Theaters are starting to open up more and more again. And the last 2 weeks, the two top movies have been 2 horror movies: the sequel to A Quiet Place and the sequel to the latest Conjuring sequel. And this has been the weeks where there've been new Disney movies out and all these much larger movies. Mm-hmm. But the last 2 weeks, the movies that have made over like $50-60 million of the weekend have both been horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. We could get into A Quiet Place for the movies we watched because I took the kids and went back to the theater for it.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. Absolutely. I was one of those guys. Well, let's get into the movie then. The Coen Brothers' Blood Simple. You want to introduce it?
Absolutely. It's from, I think, 1985. It's the first Coen Brothers, their first movie. And it's basically a film noir that takes place in Texas. Guy thinks his wife's cheating on him, so he hires this scummy private detective to spy on them. Then when he finds out she is cheating on him, he hires the detective to kill him. And things just get to kill the couple, and things just go haywire. Like it goes as terribly as you could possibly imagine. And it's just, sort of double indemnity style film noir where it's not like a mystery, it's just people living and having to deal with their terrible decisions. And it's the Coen Brothers first. It's their first movie, and Ethan had just worked before this as the editor of the first Evil Dead, and this movie definitely has the most Sam Raimi influence of all the movies. Like the camera's just zooming around, and you could definitely see that sort of Evil Dead influence in the movie.
Absolutely, and it's great. There's very little dialogue. The way they shoot it, and the way the music and everything, just the way they do it, it's great. I forgot how good that movie is.
Yeah.
And it's the least Coen Brothers-esque movie they've ever made. It doesn't have that sort of weird rhythm that their dialogue has. Like in Raising Arizona, where people just talk in Coen Brothers movies like they don't talk in real life.
Right, but it works. That's what makes.
In this movie, it's the dialogue's more natural. They hadn't really gotten that style yet.
Yeah, they didn't have the money to, or they didn't have the power to say, okay, well, this is how I want you to say this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it really is like from the start to finish. It's fantastic. The fish scene. What's his name? And I totally just lost his name.
H. Emmett.
Yeah, H. Emmett. No, the other guy.
Dan Hedaya.
Dan Hedaya. I don't know why I just lost that. He's fantastic in it, and the scene where, spoiler alert, he gets shot is great.
Yeah.
The fish on the desk and how people are coming in and out. It's just everything about that movie's it's perfect, and in a raw kind of run and gun way. It's perfect.
Yeah, like Lee was saying, the camera work is sharp. A lot of it, and they tell a lot of the story without saying anything. Like the lighter under that dead fish, because the dialogue in a lot of this, it's not that great. To be honest with you, but it's still, the story itself really works. I mean, there is some like quirky, Coen-y stuff, like when the detective's like sitting on that ledge and his beetle, and like prostitute or some chick comes over and thinks he's rolling a joint, he's rolling a cigarette, and talking about swinging and all this shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like witty, but I don't know, man. the movie making itself, the way it's shot, the way it was kind of edited, the feel of it, the music, like you say, it tells more of the story than the dialogue does. And I could appreciate it. And I saw a lot of Fargo watching this. So I was like, this is like, you can just kind of see some of the seeds, just how they build a scene, man. I mean, it's pretty fucking impressive for a first time.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's a lot better movie than I remembered.
These two weird guys from Minnesota just made this movie.
Yeah.
And just the whole whodunit and how nobody really knew what was either all the intentions of the others. Like, it was just very well crafted.
Yeah, it's like nobody's right.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's really going on. That's what kind of reminded me of Fargo. Like, nobody in Fargo really knows what's going on.
Right.
Very similar. You know, the story's going along with all these characters, but nobody really has any idea what's going on. It's real similar. In a positive way. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, this is it's a very cool movie. And it's on HBO Max right now, streaming on HBO Max if you have that subscription.
And listen, I'll be the first to admit, I forgot how hot Frances was
I'm telling
in
you, back in the
1984.
day, man.
Jesus Christ. She's blazing in this.
Yep. Yep. Those cheekbones and just that. She was beautiful back in the day.
I fucking love her so much, dude. And she, you know, for the little that she had in this, she was great.
Yeah. No, they were all good.
Everybody was.
What? The lead. What was the lead's name?
John Getz.
What's happened to him? Did he die?
He's been in stuff like he's like a character actor.
Yeah.
He's in Zodiac. He's been in tons of stuff, but he just never became a big actor.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him much.
No. He's the guy who Jeff Goldblum vomits the acid vomit on in The Fly, gets his hand melted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's one of those guys. He's in 100 movies, but he's never the lead in them, except for this. This is I think the only movie I've ever seen where he's the lead.
And he was fine.
Oh yeah, he's really
I mean, you know, it's not like he got up there and was fucking it up or anything. I thought he was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like the scene where he cleans up the blood with the shirt and buries Dan Hedaya. That's his best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, because he's at that point, once he sees the body, and he doesn't call the cops, he's in it. He's past the point of no return.
Yeah.
And then he finds him alive, and it just gets so much more horrible.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It really is. And you can find online the fundraising trailer, which we were talking about. Bruce Campbell is the Dan Hedaya character in the fundraising teaser, and it's basically that scene out on the road where he's crawling down the road and he comes up behind him with the shovel. That was the scene they shot to raise money for the movie. And I think you can find it on YouTube. It's 1982 VHS quality, but it's pretty cool just to see that how they what they shot to raise the money to make the movie.
We'll put it in the link of the show notes for sure.
Yeah.
So the Coen Brothers. Well, so we're talking Coen Brothers. Where does this rate in their body of work?
Pretty high for me.
Pretty high, yeah. I mean, yeah. Especially considering they never made a movie before.
Yeah,
There's people who made 10 movies that make a crime movie, and it's not half as polished as this.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And they themselves have made some movies that aren't as polished as this.
Oh yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah, Fargo, No Country, Oh Brother. Even though you're the one that said Oh Brother the second time sucked. Didn't stand up.
It's okay. I mean, it's fun. It's just, it's one of those, it's like, how many times can you fucking sit through it? It's like, it's a good one-timer, and then come back in a decade and check it out again. But I don't hate it.
No. It just didn't hold up the way you thought it would.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Like Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
I fucking couldn't even get to the end of it.
First of all, Hail Caesar is 1,000 times better than the one with Tom Hanks.
Oh, Lord.
What was that? The Lady Killers?
Oh.
That movie. I'm the world's biggest Coen Brothers fan, and that movie is atrocious.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
What was it called?
The Lady Killers.
That's right.
Lady-
That was the Coen Brothers, huh?
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
that was right. That was the one right before No Country, where they sort of got back in the groove. You know.
They're probably just like, we'll just make whatever we want to make.
It seemed.
Well, that's what they do.
Wasn't The Lady Killers? Wasn't it a remake?
It's a remake of an old British film from the 50s with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness.
And I think that it was one of those like, oh man, we get famous, maybe we'll, love to remake that.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Hanks wants to do it? Fuck yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I've read they have, like, in their office, they have a wall of unfinished scripts. And they'll just every once in a while take one out and make a little, like, scribble a new line and put it back. And then, like, the movie Bad Santa was one of their unfinished scripts that they just gave to someone.
Yeah.
That's why I think they have a story credit on that. But yeah, like, who knows what is in that, what ideas are in that room? You know.
God, and they could make any of them.
Oh yeah, they can make any of them. Yeah.
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 Well,
they've always done what they want. Like you look at the Hudsucker Proxy. They made that, and that was a complete failure. And the next movie they make is Fargo. You know, so they're always just it's kind of whatever. You know.
Well, I was a big fan of 2008's Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
I mean, when Brad Pitt gets it in the face,
in the closet.
Oh, yeah.
in the closet, like, dude, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
That's
it's a weird
that's a movie I kind of liked the first time I watched it, but a few months later I watched it again at somebody's house, and I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like when J.K. Simmons is the CIA boss, and he's like, fuck no, burn the body, get rid of it.
Yeah. And then A Serious Man, I don't think I ever saw that one. True Grit was great. Great remake.
A Serious Man is extremely Jewish. Like, it's such a Jewish movie. The first 20 minutes is this like Russian Jewish fairy tale, which takes place in like the 1840s, and then it cuts to modern day. I'm too much of a Gentile. Yeah. I couldn't comprehend it the way that I'm sure that I would if I was Jewish.
I don't think I've seen it. Does anybody remember The Man Who Wasn't There when Billy Bob was fresh off a sling blade? That one's good, wasn't it?
Yep, that's the only movie they've done commentary on for some reason.
Huh.
Yeah.
And
that's a good movie. And my favorite Coen Brothers movie, probably my second favorite movie of all time, is Miller's Crossing.
Yeah.
I love everything about Miller's Crossing.
Yeah, you've spoken about that.
It's them at their best.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty much, to me, it's a perfect movie. There's nothing I would change about it.
Yeah, that's about right, too. And another one of their perfect movies is something I'll watch, but we'll get to that when the time comes.
Okay.
All right.
In fact, you know what? We can get into it right now.
Segue.
Let's do it.
Segue right into it. The Big Lebowski is one of the movies that I watched. And
Very nice.
it's one of the only Coen Brothers movies that I could just put in and watch anytime, and it's always funny. It's always good. Like, it's just, dude, John Goodman.
It's my favorite role he's ever done.
It's his best role ever.
And I love the guy, and he's played some great roles.
Ma'am.
Too, Jesus.
I didn't have my friends die face down in the...
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, everything about it. Even Sam Elliott's little cameo is great.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi, like, just, being Donnie. Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing to
Shut
me
the fuck up, Doug.
about
You're
this
out of
movie,
your element.
You're out of your fucking element. Is the popularity that it garnered years after it came out. Like, I remember watching this when it came out, and I was like, yeah, it was cool. I'm into it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it's certainly not for everybody. And then it's like a few years later, it's like every fucking teenager's like quoting the fucking Big Lebowski. I'm like, what the fuck?
The dude. I'm the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, I went and saw it in the theater.
Shut the fuck up,
and I
Lee.
was late. I was late to the movie, and I walk in, and I hear somebody yell. They open the door to the projector booth, and they go, "Start Lebowski," and they started the trailers and everything. There was nobody in the theater.
Yeah.
It was so unpopular when it came out. It was unbelievable. Now it's the biggest cult movie of all time.
Shut the fuck up, Lee. You're out of your element.
It's true.
The world doesn't start and stop with you, you miserable piece of shit. That fucking bitch. It's so good, man.
And I love that they asked John Milius, can we basically have John Goodman play you? And he was just like, I don't give a shit. Basically, that's what it's like to hang out with John Milius.
I love it.
It's great. All right, and then so then my second story is we took the kids to the Golden Ticket, man, and watched A Quiet Place 2. It was...
Let me ask you this. Were you a big fan of the first one?
Yes.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one was really good. In fact, I think it was pretty consistent with the first one. I think the difference in the first and the second one is you really didn't know in the first one what they were facing, and this one it was kind of, you knew. And to spoil the movie, they find out. Do you guys mind if I spoil it, or should I not?
Go right ahead.
I don't give a shit.
They find out that they can't swim. So they go on an island, and I'm going, it really took the deaf girl to figure that out? So they figured that out? And there's still people out. Nobody's communicating, and it's... So, I mean, I get it. I get what they were trying to do, but at the same time, I'm like, well... Okay, great. So on day 474, nobody's announced that, hey, these guys can't swim. Go for the boats.
So when the aliens landed, nobody in the Navy picked up on this.
That's right. So they end up at this marina that's got boats everywhere. And I'm like, so nobody even tried to get on the boat? Like, that just didn't make... So, yeah, it just kind of like, they just kind of placed that. Like, look, a matter of fact, they can't swim suddenly. And I'm like, yeah, the Navy and all these... I mean, they had how many people working on the Corona?
Yeah.
So aliens land, and nobody thinks to find out if these guys can swim or not? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So anyway, so that was the one plot hole. But besides that, I was very entertained. It was very good. I mean, it was really good. It was as good as the first. I like Krasinski. What's his name?
John Krasinski?
Yeah, John Krasinski.
He was in it?
Well, they showed day one.
Oh.
It opens on day one, which is cool. So he's in it for a minute. Okay. It shows how they get here and what happens. And that part actually is the best part of the movie. And then I watched... I finished. I've been watching it every week. Kate Winslet's HBO Max special, Mayor of Easttown.
I heard it was really good.
It's a masterpiece, and she's going to win the Emmy, and it's fantastic. About a small town, little girl gets killed, and it's just this web of it's just a character study, man, with a murder mystery, but the way they do it, and Kate Winslet carries it. And it's so good. Guy Pearce is in it, and he's the schlub guy that I love him too, man. Everybody this is one of those things it's one of those things I would never get made because it doesn't sound like anything. But when you put the acting together, and you put, the acting, the setting, and the story together, it's perfect. And this, look, I think it's eight episodes. Just ended, the season finale just ended with a nice twist. Man, it was fantastic. Sharp Objects. Did you watch that one? Mm-hmm. The last limited series with Amy Adams in it was good. This was better. Kate Winslet is a master at what she does, and she should win the Emmy for this 150%.
Yes, I love her.
She gained a whole bunch of weight and she just looks like she's down on life. Like it just worked. Everything about it works.
Okay.
It's a must see.
Okay.
And then I watched the documentary, and I think I might have said this last week, but if I didn't, forgive me for repeating myself. But I watched Bruce Lee's Be Water, which is basically about
Imagine that, dude. You've got a fucking Bruce Lee tank top on right now. Last week he had on some fucking yellow Bruce Lee shoes. Color me shocked. I can't believe it.
Well,
you watched the documentary about Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee.
Unfucking believable.
What a fucking smartass. Whatever, man. I won't even review it. Go on.
It's amazing.
What did you watch?
We can talk about it.
Come on. Go cook me some freaking...
I had a shitty... Look, sometimes you go through a few weeks and you don't watch anything worth a shit. And that's what happened to me.
Okay.
But so 2 nights ago, or maybe it was... Fuck, I can't remember. Night before last, yeah. Sitting around trying to find something to watch. I see Titanic. And I was like, you know what? I haven't watched this in like 10 years. Jody and I were hanging out. And she's like, yeah, let's do it.
Doug,
like, right.
Jody, Doug,
Shut
Jody,
the fuck up.
Doug. I'll never give up, Doug. I'll never give up.
Man, I really didn't enjoy it very much.
What? You cannot not enjoy that movie.
It's
The
not.
first half of the movie sucks. But when it hits the iceberg, it's the shit.
Well, there's a part in it. The coolest thing that happened during the movie.
Winslet's tits.
Well, that was high on the list, but they go to like some swanky party and then they end up below deck with the Irish like drinking and
dancing,
playing music, and this guy sits down and starts playing the spoons, and Jody's like, "Look at that!" And I was like, "I can fucking do that," and she's like, "No, you can't." I was like, "Pause this motherfucker." So we paused the fucking movie.
Did you bring her spoons?
And for 30 minutes, well, not really 30 minutes, for a few minutes, I played some spoons, and I brought that recording.
You did? All right, let's hear it.
So we're just going to jump into a touch of spoons here.
Make sure you get it right next to the mic there.
Hold on just 1 second. Because I'm not a spoon ninja by any means, but goddammit, I can carry a tune. Here we go. That was like heavy metal spoons right there. All right.
Yeah.
So
that was that's the new highlight of Titanic.
That was the highlight of Titanic, was getting called out for not being able to play spoons and then coming through being able to play spoons.
Did it get you laid?
No. Nothing does these days. Okay.
You got married. You should have never got married.
Fuck that up. Lee, you better take heat on that.
Not a spoon ninja.
I'm not a spoon ninja. I can't help it. So, a few weeks, or maybe it was last week, hell, I can't remember. It was after we'd met the last time. I get home one night, Jody works nights normally, so when she's off, we always try and watch something. And I let her choose most of the time, unless it's something I really don't want to see.
What has happened to you?
It's blowing up in my face. So, what's the Zack Snyder zombie bullshit?
Army of the Dead!
Yeah, so I fucking watched it.
It's the best thing ever.
Oh, man.
I hated it.
I couldn't have hated it more, man.
Really?
It's 2.5 hours of just, I don't care, man. God dang.
It's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
It's a good zombie movie.
I guess.
The opening credits, tell me you watch the opening credits and you're like, this is awesome.
I thought I was watching Zombieland.
Oh, come on. Schneider shot it.
That's the thing with the whole zombie thing, man. If you can't approach it in a really unique way, then just don't fucking do it.
You're right there. It was just a zombie.
And it's like you try and add in these super zombies or whatever that live in Las Vegas. It's just it's 2.5 hours long. It's a fucking disaster trying to get to the end of it. I promise you, I paused it 12 times.
Really? See, I enjoyed it for what it was. Of course, I'm on the Snyder bus now.
I know you are. You are driving that bus. I mean, if you love zombie shit, give it a day in court. If you don't, then I can't. I just can't promote it. I really fucking hated it. And
Really? But you liked his 4-hour Justice League.
Right.
You like his
I
stuff.
don't dislike him. I just didn't like this. And I liked the other zombie movie that he made, the, what's it called, remake?
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. I like that. But it wasn't the worst thing I watched. The worst thing I watched was The Conjuring 3.
Oh,
Because it's on HBO Max. And, you know, Jodie was off. She's like, we've got to watch it. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it was all hyped up.
That series makes more money.
Look, the original one was fine. They did it right in that kind of genre, this ghosty kind of genre. They did it right with the first one. The second one is garbage, and this is even worse. This is just nothing.
But it's made
fuck-
so much money.
Some dude, like, I think he was probably on some drugs or something, stabbed this guy a bunch of times, and then said that the devil made him do it. And he only served like 5 years in prison by using that as a defense, and you know, whatever fucking year it was, I wasn't paying enough attention. And it really drags, and it's like the worst thing that you can make is a boring horror movie. Like, especially something like this where it's like you watch it for the jump scares and for like the crazy looking, you know, witchy,
yeah, I get that.
demon faces and all. Well, if you take all that shit out, then it's just a love story between a couple of fucking wackos, the Warrens. You know, I remember the woman, I can't remember her first name right now, but I remember there was some ghost shows that came on about, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. It was like the Penn State, like, Ghostbusters. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She was involved with them a few times. And I thought, man, what a fucking crazy old woman. And then, you know, you go back and see some of these case files, and it's just ridiculous. It's just, you know. But people will watch it, like you say. They can put a Conjuring 4 about whatever the fuck they want, and it'll sell. It'll be fine. I did watch one thing, though, that is awesome that kind of saved the last couple weeks. And I sent out a text about it as Mr. In Between, Season 3. I didn't even know it was fucking happening. I came home one day and it was on my DVR. And the first 3 episodes I've watched, and it's fucking perfect. Lee, have you seen any of it?
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
Okay, well,
He's too busy camping in cabins.
it hasn't changed, and it's exactly what it needs to be. And the other thing that I watched, and I caught a few episodes here and there of it, and actually meant to bring it up last week and forgot. There's a documentary series that they're running on A&E about these old WWF wrestling stars. And the ones that I have caught have been very, very good. They're nostalgic as hell, and a lot of information in them. A lot of, you know, even when I was in wrestling so hard as a kid that, like, if Ric Flair got beat, I would cry. You know, once you come to understand that it's all not 100% real, you think, oh, well, it's all bullshit. And that is very far from the truth. Like, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stories about certain matches, certain relationships that you don't really know about, you know, they delve into these things in this thing, and it's really fucking interesting and really well done. The guys that I watched the one on Randy Savage, Macho Man. I watched the one on Shawn Michaels. I watched the one on Bret the Hitman Hart, and I saw something about Roddy Piper. I don't know if it's in the same series. I believe it is, though. And all 4 of the ones that I've watched have been awesome. And Garrick, I know that you, especially back in those days, were a massive wrestling fan.
Absolutely.
And when I watched these, I got so, like, I remember watching some of these, like, together. Like, early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, some of these pay-per-views and shit. And it's just, it's really good. If you're a wrestling fan, you know, and I liked, you know, the other I was more of an NWA guy, especially as a kid, WCW, than I ever was WWF. But these are still really well done. Like Hogan's in them, Jim Cornette. I guess he like crossed over and cross promoted, in the WWF. I didn't remember any of that. I thought he was
he was behind the scenes.
He ran around with the racket and all that shit, and then he kind of disappeared. Yeah. McMahon, Vince McMahon's all. I mean, dude, they're really fucking good.
And Vince McMahon and Bret Hart had that huge falling out. Did they talk about that?
Oh,
and then how they've reset.
Well, how he fucked him is what he did.
Yeah.
And he really did, dude. Like, it's.
Does Vince McMahon own it?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's like, this is what happened. This is why I did it. And like after the match, Bret Hart went and found him,
punched him,
and one punch knocked him out.
Yeah.
he's like, that's the hardest fucking punch I threw in the fucking 25 years I wrestled.
Yeah, I remember all that. They showed it.
Oh, I mean, they get into it, man. And it's, if you like that sort of thing, if you are a fan of like old school wrestling, I highly recommend it, dude. It's really, really good.
All right, I'll check it out if I can figure out how to watch it.
That's what I watched.
So something on A&E, I mean, something that's on A&E will end up being on some streaming service at some point.
Yeah, see, there's another like old school wrestling thing that's on Vice.
Yeah,
it's called.
Yeah, but they're talking about Chris Benoit, the more controversial stuff.
Oh, it's super controversial shit.
Yeah,
but I've caught some of those things, and they're, I mean.
Wrestling has always had lots of drama. I mean, from the from the wrestlers themselves and their demons to the shit going on in the back.
I couldn't name one dude that wrestles anywhere today. I couldn't even name what the names of the companies are.
I had to go to last week. Tuesday, I had to go to High Point to shoot, and we stayed in a hotel room on Monday. And the guy I stayed with was watching Raw. The Raw still comes on Monday, and I watched 15 minutes of it, and I'm like, it's just not the same. It's done.
Right.
It's over.
Well, if you want to bring it back one time with the old school characters, trust me on
the
this.
A&E.
Yeah,
okay.
You will dig it.
Okay, man, I'm gonna write it down. I'd love to see that Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart. And Macho Man. Ooh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage. Step into a Slim Jim. All right.
The dude was a fucking psychopath.
He was.
Yeah.
He died. Had a heart attack and drove his car into a building. Did he?
Into a tree. Well, his wife kind of did.
Oh.
Like he was having a heart attack, and he wouldn't put on the brakes, so she turned the wheel to hit a tree.
Oh, wow.
And I'm pretty sure he was dead on scene. Unfortunate, but...
That's what steroids will do to you. Lots of steroids.
Yeah, everybody on this list was a fucking... all of them were...
Even Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's 90 years old and he's still benching 550 pounds.
Not just steroids. I mean, these cats were hardcore drug addicts, man.
Hey, Shawn Michaels, too?
Oh, Jesus. He was so bad, dude. Oh, and I forgot. I did watch the one on Mankind.
Now, he was pretty clean, wasn't he?
Nick Foley, yeah. He wouldn't drink or anything. Flair was like, this motherfucker would go out here and, like, take staples to the face and, like, tacks to the body and all this. And, we're gathering up after a show, and it's like, yeah, we're going here to drink. And Foley's like, no, I got to catch a plane and go home to my family. Like, never hung out with the guys. And Flair was like, I could never trust this motherfucker. He's like, I loved him, because he was such a good guy. But he's like, man, somebody that went through the shit that he wouldn't have a beer, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, man, I saw Mankind take some bumps, boy.
Yeah,
like when The Rock hit him, did they talk about the time where The Rock kept hitting him in the head with the chair?
The I Quit match.
Yeah, the I Quit match, and he just kept hitting him and hitting him harder.
Oh, the one with The Undertaker where he throws him off the cage and then throws him through the cage, and then, they're like, all right, enough, like, fucking stay down. He's like, no, we got to do the tacks. And then he, like, rolls out and gets a fucking sack of tacks so you can fucking put his face in it. Like, he was just out of control.
Yeah.
But these are all very, very good.
All right, I'm going to have to check this out, though.
Absolutely.
What'd you watch, Lee?
Well, I'm not gonna say I watched Army of the Dead. I started it. You're a big fan of it, Garrick. I have a question for you as a fan of the movie and as a cinematographer.
Okay.
Why is the movie not in focus?
If you watch the making of, their budget did not their budget didn't strain for lots of extras. So he shot on some actual old lenses to keep that real shallow focus. And he said,
but that's not shallow focus. There are parts of it that are just blurry.
It's blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not shallow focus. It's not The Godfather where they're shooting in shadow. It's just out of focus.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a train wreck, but it's a good zombie. Maybe I'm just riding the Snyder bus. Maybe if I watched it again, I'd be like, this is miserable.
Well, you said that you had watched the making of before, and that got you all pumped up to watch it. And I can understand that, but I shouldn't have to watch a making of to enjoy a fucking movie.
Shut the fuck up, Doug.
You're out of your element.
You're out of your element, Doug. Lee, you're getting ready to tell me for the first time in 3 years on this podcast you didn't make it through the movie.
I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I bailed on movies before. I bailed on a movie in a heartbeat. Life's finite. I ain't got time for that shit. If I'm not feeling a movie, I'm out of there. And it wasn't the movie we were watching that week, so I was like, I don't have to finish this. And it's just, he shot it himself. He was the cinematographer or the camera operator.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Running a camera is a very hard job. And it just, I'm a fan of that sort of John Frankenheimer, very deep focus. I like to see the movie.
Okay.
I like to see what's going on because it's not shallow focus. The movie's fucking blurry. All right, and if he said they didn't have the money. Netflix has $1 billion. They didn't. No, that's bullshit.
Yeah, they'd have given him.
Maybe that's the excuse they used.
Zack Snyder called up the head of Netflix and was like, "Can we get some more lights?" They would have been like, "Fuck you, nerd," and just hung up on him. That didn't happen. That did not happen.
It absolutely couldn't have happened.
Oh, all right. I'm making excuses because I'm on the Snyder. I'm on the Snyder bus.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you watch Watchmen, and everything's so detailed. You watch the Watchmen movie, you can see, like, there's an old, like, movie poster in the background, like, stuck to a wall of an old alley. Everything's in so much detail and there's so much, like, he takes so much pride in everything. And this is just not that. I guess is my problem.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's trying something different. Sometimes you try something different, it doesn't work. I don't know. It's not for me.
Okay.
I got 75 zombie movies on DVD. I can just watch them.
Hey, speaking of, you know what we need to watch for next week? Even though we're in a block, we should all watch The Amusement Park now that it's out.
Oh, the
Romero's,
okay.
Yes, on Shudder.
Yeah.
We should check that out. It's supposed to be fantastic.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I guess, like I said, I actually think that I review a lot of movies and watch a lot of movies, and I don't necessarily analyze them. I think I'm kind of like you. Maybe you're rubbing off on me, where if I'm having fun, then I like the movie.
Hey, listen, if you have fun with it, that's fantastic.
Whereas, 3 years ago, it was all about the aesthetics and composition, and now it's like, maybe not. Or maybe I'm just getting older and I don't give a shit anymore.
Right. Listen, if you like the movie, you like it. I'm not hating on you.
I watched The Godfather Part 3 with the recut, and it was a masterpiece. I need
to see that.
It's perfect in every way.
Yeah.
And then, so here I am, this is The Godfather 3 is a masterpiece, and I like Army of Dead. So I don't know, maybe it's just, and again, maybe it's the mood I'm in. Maybe I was just in a good mood. It was in for a zombie movie. Now, I'll tell you what, I'll watch it again, and I'll give you a second opinion on it, just to see, since both of you did not like it.
Right. Okay.
It's just too much.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm
Also,
gonna.
let me go through my things. I also watched The Conjuring 3. I've not seen the first two Conjurings. Bonnie wanted to watch it. It was on HBO. I have no point of reference with the Conjuring movies. Doug, I didn't hate it. It was just, I'll give them credit that it's not a haunted house movie.
Right.
You know, I'll give them credit they actually did something different. Now, I don't know if it was necessarily all that successful, but at least it's not the same movie. It has to do with a curse, and there's a Satanist who's cursing people. And it's, you know, it's weird because, like, they push the true story, and if you look up the true story, none of this happened. The curse thing is completely made up, so it's weird that it's based on a true story movie, and the actual murder case is not that important to the movie. And, but, you know, I'm sure James Wan, you know, made a bunch of money, and
That's what he does.
You got through The Conjuring and you didn't get through Army of the Dead? What the hell is going on?
I was
This is post-pandemic, Lee or something.
I had ultimate veto power on Army of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
I did not pick Conjuring, so, but I mean, you know, it's whatever.
I got you.
I'm not a big ghost movie guy, so.
Okay, well that makes sense. And Bonnie picked The Conjuring, so you're pretty much locked into that.
Listen, Bonnie, that's ghost movies are her thing. She loves them. You know, they're not really my thing. I mean, I'd say it was all right. I mean,
well, ghost movies are good. My wife wants me to sit through This Is Us with her.
I don't even know what that is.
I just told her to put her hand. I said, get the gun out of the safe and put it on my nightstand, and I might watch that with you. Oh man.
I saw that The Long Goodbye, the Robert Altman movie, was on Amazon. That probably ties with Nashville. It's my favorite Altman movie. I rewatched that.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Well, if anybody's seen the P.T. Anderson movie, the detective movie, oh shit, I blanked on it. What is it, Garrick?
Vice.
Inherent Vice.
Yeah. Inherent Vice. There's a lot of Long Goodbye in Inherent Vice.
Okay. Yeah, I see that now. Thinking about it. Yep. Robert Altman was a master too, man.
Oh, no doubt.
His movies were fantastic. Fantastic. You know what else is fantastic?
What's that?
The story I'm getting ready to tell. A few years ago when I got back from Los Angeles, Doug turned me on to Ito origami. Remember, you got and you had to. Where did you get you got yours in Charleston, or you got bootleg copies of all the movies of Lone Wolf and Cub is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I watched them and it was fantastic. And I didn't realize, I guess at that time, I just thought they were like bootleg copies because of the quality. Well, I found the complete box set of DVDs and I bought them. And the quality's not all that good. It's packaged from Eureka. And after buying these that were said to be remastered, I thought this was as good as it was going to get. I was wrong. HBO Max has the Criterion Collection.
They're amazing.
On HBO Max is the Criterion Collection of Lone Wolf and Cub, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous that I watched it on HBO Max. I watched the first one, or I watched Baby Cart to Hades, and I immediately ordered the Criterion Collection.
Nice.
Just to have it. It looks so good, Lee. It's amazing.
I watched the second one, the one with the Gods of Death.
Yes, they are amazing. And since we're running, I did also watch something else, but I'm going to save it for next week. And you know what I'm talking about. You turned me on to it.
Okay. Since we're talking about next week, did you just tell me? Did you enjoy them?
No. I mean, no, kind of.
Kind of. You know what? Why
don't you just wait till next week? I've got a whole presentation on it. I've been working on a nice presentation. Let's keep it in the bag.
I can't fucking wait.
Let's keep it in the bag. But hey, listen, anyone who loves old Japanese samurai movies, and has never heard of Lone Wolf and Cub, buy the Criterion Collection or get a subscription to HBO Max. You have got to see them in their full capacity because they are beautiful. Go out right now and do it. I'll send the link in the story notes to the Criterion Collection on Jeff Bezos' website so you can give him more money so he can go to space.
Yeah.
Be well worth
Some of
it.
the best comic book movies ever made.
I think this is what I have.
Yeah,
But I got this like 20 couple years ago. But it's just somebody just transferred VHS to DVD.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm
know,
saying. The
yeah,
print.
it's just
they
not
went back for the Criterion. They went back and got the Japanese print.
I'm saying this is what I had originally.
It was so good. It inspired. After I watched it, it inspired me. I actually drew. I went out and drew. I drew my own little cell of origami Ito. Like that's. I don't know, man. It's always been cool. Like I remember when Doug brought this in, and that was big. We were
Origami Ito, Lee. You gonna let that fucking slide, or you're just gonna pretend like he's not butchering the fuck out of every goddamn thing about this?
I'm probably not going to pronounce it any better. So
Okay. We're just going to let it slide then. It's fine. Origami. Continue.
So, anyway, it's, go out and get them. Go out and get them now. Yeah. I just remember the first one when you were like, dude, you've got to watch this. And I'm a film student. I'd never even heard of him. He's like, you've got to watch this. And it was great. And they just keep getting better and better. All right, well, next week, are we doing PT next week? Or are we doing...
the Hard 8.
Hard 8. We're going to do PT next week. Well, I'm going to be here for that. All right, and I'll tell you the movies I watched.
I got to brush up on the Phantom Thread.
The Master, right? Phantom Thread, and There Will Be Blood. Drainage! There you go. So you already know the movies I'll be watching next week.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it for this show. Hey, go out. Go on Amazon. Type in Lone Wolf and Cub Criterion Collection. Click buy now. Do it. Send Jeff Bezos to space.